Alright everybody, welcome to the Talking Nerdy channel if this is your first time tuning in. If not, welcome back. We've spent a little bit of time with these sabers, messed around with them, and we felt it was time to do an actual review of our SaberForge lightsabers. So, Aaron, why don't you start us off?
Alright, so I have a 12 watt blue Epoch from SaberForge. I mean, I love the three windows, you know, that definitely makes it for me. That's the reason I got this design. It's really nicely crafted. It's got sharp lines. It's nice and solid. I think it's well built, and I love that the blade comes with the threaded. There you go. It's a threaded tip because we've lost tips in the past with other sabers, so I'm a fan of the threaded tip and. Just the overall design. It's simple, but still pretty flashy. So it's good craftsmanship, in my opinion.
I got the Exalted, and story about this is that I ordered it off of the Etsy shop, and the one that was on the Etsy shop was the weathered version of the hilt, which I was like, okay, that's cool, but I did request for a clean hilt if they had it. So. Obviously, these are both Warrior editions. This one is in the red.
The blue.
It's nice. I really like it. It's not a super chunky handle like compared to our Ultrasabers, like the Dominics and the Aeon V1. I guess you'd say like this one. It was just super thin, and it's pretty thin. It's really not chunky at all. I really like it. When our sabers arrived in the mail, obviously we got the hilts. We got our blades. We got these battery chargers for the lithium-ion battery that's in there, the 18650 cell. We both got hex wrenches.
And mine came with a blade plug.
His came with his blade plug. The one thing I did not get in mine was a retention screw for the emitter to hold the blade in place and all that, which it's really not a super big deal because you can get them for like 59 cents, I think is what I paid at a hardware store. But the thing is, when you're buying stuff like this that's already pretty expensive, or it can be, depending on what you order.
It should have everything.
Exactly, especially if it's coming with a blade. I mean, there's no reason to ship a hilt and a blade with no retention screw, because then there's no purpose to it. It makes it impossible to duel with. So that's one of the first little things that I just wanted to mention as far as what came with the sabers, what didn't. So, I really like the hilt. It's not super heavy. The only thing that's really heavy about SaberForge builds are the blades.
The blades.
So I like it, but I do have issues with it. Same as I feel anyone would have with most products that are in this particular market.
All right, so let's go ahead and introduce what other sabers we have here.
All right, yeah. I have the Ultrasabers Graflex Standard Edition in Guardian Blue with Obsidian Sound.
And I have the Ultrasabers Dominics V2 in Consular Green, no sound. And the Initiate V3 in red and with sound.
So, one of the main reasons that we made this purchase from SaberForge is because everyone was ranting and raving about their 12 watt LED modules. They're so bright, and I know Philip Isherwood and Daniel Lane had posted a little choreography they did in like a forest somewhere with their sabers, and they lit up so beautifully.
Right, we were really impressed
daylight.
with how well it was visible in daylight.
Yeah, so I mean, we were like, we got to get these sabers for our videos because all of our lightsaber fights are at nighttime.
At night, and the sabers look great, but everything else is really low quality.
So, right off the bat, pulling these sabers out of the box, we noticed these are not that bright. Like
not as bright as we were expecting.
Exactly. Like we literally pulled them out, put them next to our Ultrasabers, and we're like, well, I don't really see much of a difference. So we're just going to show you right now.
Show the blue and the blue.
And I mean, I don't know when you last charged that. I don't know when I last charged these batteries. But I mean, from the head-on view like that, vertical view like that, they're to my eye here, really,
It's hard to tell.
the Ultrasabers is much more clearly illuminated
Here,
from
yeah.
top to bottom, I
Show
think.
the,
So let's show the tips there so you can really see that.
it kind of gets dim here, and that's because these blades have the mirror.
Yeah, they have the mirror
And
tips right there.
The SaberForge blades do not.
blades.
Though mine is way brighter at the base.
Yeah, if you look at the base,
with the windows,
it is clearly brighter. So I mean, I don't know. To our eyes, there doesn't seem to be a dramatic difference. So let's show the reds now.
Okay.
So SaberForge red.
Oh, that's green.
that is terrible red. And here's versus Ultrasabers red. And I know for a fact this battery is low because
Yes, this battery is low.
Yeah, and I mean, right now the SaberForge is outshining it, but not by a ridiculous amount.
Not considering how low these batteries are.
And also considering that everyone has always kind of said Ultrasabers has inferior technology, which, I mean, I'm not here to bash SaberForge or bash Ultrasabers or anyone.
We're just presenting our view on both because we own sabers from both companies.
Exactly. So, I mean, as far as brightness, I've got to say with the 12 watt, I'm not super impressed. Also, just to clarify, because it's a point of huge arguments in the lightsaber forums, 6 watt and 12 watt is in no way an indication of how bright the LED unit is. Lumens is what you're looking for as far as brightness. The wattage is just the power that it's using for that brightness. And I mean, I guess in most cases you figure the more watts that are being used by the LED module, probably the brighter it's going to be. Otherwise, I don't really know what your purpose of having a higher wattage is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
still,
just for
brightness aside, I love the color.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful
color.
Okay, so we've swapped out the blades now. So both of our SaberForge lightsabers have Ultra Edge blades in them from Ultrasabers. And I don't know if you can tell very much on the camera. I know your blue is like washing this out.
Yeah.
But the red is much more evenly lit, even though it's definitely brighter at the base here. And that's also because it's a thin neck saber. So the way the light passes through that chamber is going to be a little different.
See, for mine,
but that is so much brighter.
It's not as bright down near the emitter, but it keeps a much even, for the top 10 inches of the saber, it keeps a much more even lighting.
Let's do a comparison between yours and the graphics.
Okay. See, now I think this is noticeably brighter. Now that they both have the same blade.
It's also, now that I'm looking at it, it's also like a wider shade of blue. It's not as dark blue as this one is. But now I would say that SaberForge is definitely looking a little bit brighter.
Yeah.
SaberForge batteries, it's a single cell, you use this wall charger for it, so you can only charge one at a time. But it takes so long to charge those batteries.
Yeah.
I left mine...
12 hours. More than 12 hours.
Yeah, his took 14 hours. Mine, at the 14-hour mark, I was like, whatever, I'm putting it in my saber and seeing if there's any sort of a brightness difference. I can't say that there particularly was. It seemed like an awfully long time to keep a battery on the charger for a lightsaber, whereas... Trust fires, you find most Ultrasabers, it's like...
Well, and this one I've had for so long, the Dominix runs off AAA batteries.
Yeah, that's one of the old...
4 AAA batteries, and...
that was from their first run of the V2, I think it is.
I've had the Saber for 6 years, probably. And so as far as... we can't speak for the longevity of SaberForge sabers, because we only just got them, but these 2 Ultrasabers that I have held up to...
rigorous
dueling,
use.
Being dropped,
thrown out of batteries changed constantly, batteries
and
being recharged constantly.
Both of these, I've had this one for at least 6 years, and this one for coming up on 3 now? 3 coming up on 3 years for this one, and both of them have held up remarkably well.
I will say that the charge on the SaberForge batteries does last forever, because I have not charged this since we did that initial charge. And I play with it every day. I pull it out, I swing it around for a bit, I smack stuff with it. So the batteries do last a really long time.
So they take longer to charge, but they also last longer, which is nice if you're going to be out filming like we do, or just you don't want to have to always have it on the charger.
Shipping, yeah, that's one of the other things that SaberForge has been kind of notorious for is their 8 to 10 week lead time.
Which mine, granted, I did order it end of November, so you're getting into the, it was a Black Friday deal, you're getting into the Christmas rush, but it took about 12 and a half weeks for me to get my saber from SaberForge, whereas Ultrasabers, 6 days later.
Yeah, I mean, this saber, this is the one that we won in their video raffle.
Yeah, and
that was we got it the next day.
Ultrasabers had a video contest, and we won third place. We won third place, and so we got this free Initiate V3 in red with sound, and they overnighted it to us for free. We won it, and
that was cool.
If you're looking for a saber and you want it pretty much now, if you're not a patient person, I would recommend Ultrasabers.
Or if you're willing to wait a little bit longer than Ultrasabers, but you do not want to do the 8 to 10 weeks waiting.
SaberForge
Etsy page is where I ordered this guy from.
He got his in like 3 weeks.
Little less than 3 weeks.
Yeah, so that's not too bad.
The estimated time for them, I think, is 10 to 14 days, and I've even heard some people get them quicker, which is great for them. This took me 16 or 17 days, I think. So okay, let's get down to overall impressions.
Okay.
Out of 10, what would you give your SaberForge Epoch?
I would give this a 9. I mean, it really was almost everything I expected. Especially for all I really had to go off of was just, a couple really bad quality YouTube reviews and then the picture on their website. And so when I got it, looking it over, the grooves and the lines and the windows, it was everything I was looking for. There was absolutely no disappointment in the hilt at all. And the color was exactly what I wanted. I wanted a blue saber, and I got a blue saber.
Blue.
Yeah, so I would give it a 9 out of 10, really.
Right. And that's for the product. As far as overall service, what would you give it?
Overall service, I'd probably say a 7, and that's mainly just because of the waiting factor. I did email them a couple times to just kind of be like, at what stage is it at? And they did get back to me, relatively quickly, which was nice. But so I would say 7 out of 10 for the overall experience.
Okay. Yeah, for this hilt, I'd say as far as the machining on it, the functionality of battery switch, LED unit, brightness of the blade, I would give this saber 8 out of 10. Just because one of the things that we didn't mention, but it kind of bugs me a little bit, is like when your saber's off, it's very easy to just kind of like run your thumb.
Like I keep doing during the
switch,
video.
Yeah, it'll just flick on, which is okay. Because when you have it on, it's this really nice low profile in there, and there's no way to like accidentally something. Unless your fingertip is pressing on it.
I'm a fan of the low profile, whereas the Ultrasabers have this big clicky thing.
Yeah, it's like a flashlight. My other issue that I had with the hilt is that the neck piece comes apart in several different parts, and when you're constantly using it, constantly spinning it, and I wouldn't even be touching the emitter, but
it loosened up a few times.
It came unscrewed. I had to do several dabs of super glue, which nothing's come unscrewed since. I've had no issues with it since, but I did have to super glue it. I did have to buy that screw myself, even though that's a tiny little thing. It still affects it to me, and just because the battery takes so long to charge. I mean, I know you can get a faster charger, but for the amount of money that I paid for this, I give it 8 out of 10. As far as overall experience, it shipped relatively quickly. Communication could have been a little bit better, but they still responded eventually to any questions that I asked. They did send me the clean hilt instead of the weathered one. As far as the service, at least from the Etsy page, I would give the service an 8 out of 10 as well. So overall, 8 out of 10. Nice. One last thing, I keep saying that, I forgot to mention, is that for the standard CoverTech clips that are out there, I don't know if the ones that SaberForge offers, they do anything to them, but I actually found that I had a little bit more trouble getting this particular CoverTech wheel to lock into place because maybe it's because the edges are a little bit sharper, it kind of stuck in there and just was a pain in the butt to do without like pulling off the clip, squeezing it, looking at it, lining it up, and then sliding it into place. Whereas Ultrasabers just slides right in there on the Graflex, and it's just clean, quick action, just nice.
All that aside, both companies have given us wonderful products that we definitely enjoy using.
As far as recommendations to anyone, I would say that, like Aaron said before, if you're an impatient person, you want your saber and you want it now, take a look at what Ultrasabers has to offer. But if you want a little bit of variety in your hilt, something a little bit more creative, that's got a little bit more pizzazz to it, I think.
Yeah.
SaberForge offers some really, really cool hilts.
A little more dimension.
Yeah. They definitely have a wider variety.
If you have any suggestions for anything else that we should review or anything that you would like to see in our videos, let us know in the comments.
If you have any other questions about the sabers that we did not address, feel free to ask us, and we will be happy to answer them for a while at least. So, yeah, that's that.
Goodbye.